conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for inviting me tonight along to your family and a safe space. It's really nice to be here. And it's really nice to come along and talk about volunteering because I'm so passionate about it. It's not only my job, I live and breathe it. So it's something I've been passionate about for well over 20 years. So thank you very much. So yeah, I'm Mel. I'm from Community Works and the Volunteer Centre. I'll say a little bit about what the Volunteer Centre is in a minute. And I'm here to talk about volunteering. So, to look at what is volunteering, because everyone has different ideas of what volunteering is and what it involves, and things to think about and how to look for volunteering. So, hopefully I'll cover most things, but obviously if there's any questions, please ask. We can wait to the end because you might want to see what I'm going to talk about. And also there's no silly question. Any question, just ask me about volunteering, that's fine. So I'm going to have some slides because this all helps me and it also helps you when you're reading it as well, gives a prompt. So let me just get this. So it did work earlier, so we'll see what happens now. Just checking everyone can see that. Okay, just so you should be able to see slides. Cool. Just making sure that's all okay.
Yeah.
So what is the Volunteer Centre? So some of you might have heard of Volunteer Centre, some of you might not have. So the Volunteer Centre, we support organisations, so local charities and groups to advertise for volunteering. So there's lots of organisations out there looking for volunteering, so they can advertise with us in one place. And from that, anyone looking for volunteering can search on our website looking for volunteering and can find many different opportunities. And I'll show you the website later. But we do understand that people aren't able to access the internet or don't have equipment or actually don't know where to start or don't know what volunteering they might like to do. So we do provide one-to-one support to people looking for volunteering. Often over the phone, we can do some face-to-face. We are quite a small team run by volunteers themselves. So I oversee the volunteer centre, which the team I oversee are actually volunteers themselves. We cover Brighton, Hove, and then through to Ada, which is South Fishersgate, Southwick, Shoreham, through to Worthing, just beyond Worthing to Goring. So that's the areas we cover. So it's a place that everyone can have in one place to advertise for volunteering and search for volunteering, and it's completely free. So let me just make sure I go across. So what is volunteering? First of all, volunteering is on your own choice. So it's something you want to do. You should never, ever be forced to do volunteering. It's something that you want to do of your own free will. And it's you offering your time. And the time you can offer might be one-off, it might be longer term, it might be for a few weeks, a few months, it might be weekends, evenings, and it fits around your own time because you might have childcare, you might have health, you might have other appointments. So it's fitting around the time you can offer. There's no financial reward. You don't get paid to do volunteering. You will get, most organisations will reimburse your expenses. So what I mean by reimburse expenses is if you have to pay for travel to get to your volunteering. So for example, the bus. So they will reimburse the bus fare for you. It might be mileage. Some places will provide lunch, or if you're volunteering all day, they will reimburse your lunch up to a certain amount sometimes, but it is always for the amount you pay out. So if you pay out, I think the bus fare is about £6 now. So if you pay £6 for the bus fare, they will reimburse the £6. They're not allowed to pay more than that. So not most organisations reimburse it. Some don't pay expenses. And that's not because they don't want to, it's because they haven't got the funding to do it themselves, or they are purely just all volunteers themselves. So when you're looking, it's a really important, that's really important to you as well, to have a look to make sure they reimburse expenses. It always means something to you. So quite a lot of time volunteering, you volunteer for an organisation, charity group, because it means something to you, be it it's something that really matters, is really important, or it's something you've been involved with, or you've got other people that have been involved with it. So often people are drawn to activities and groups that actually matter to them and they have an interest in. You can do it individually, you can do it as a group, it can be done from home, some opportunities from home, some opportunities are out in the community, some just, in different buildings. So there's lots of places. As I've already said, it can be one off, short time ongoing. The real important thing I always say about volunteering, it needs to be enjoyable. You need to enjoy it. It's something you've got to enjoy because, as I said, you're giving your time for free. You're giving your time of your own choice, and it's something that you want to get something out of it. People will get something out of it from you. The organisations you volunteer for will get a lot from it. People you support will get a lot from it. Even now, after 20 odd years with volunteers, get so much out of volunteers and learn so much volunteers. But for you, it needs to be enjoyable. If it's not enjoyable, then it's something you need to think about. Is that right for you, that opportunity, or should you be doing something else or having a chat about different activities? So why do people volunteer? It's a long list of why people volunteer. So I've got loads of you on here today, which is absolutely brilliant to see how many people are here today. And thank you for coming. So each one of you will probably might have some common reasons, the same reasons why you want to volunteer, but quite a lot of you will have your own personal reasons. And some of this, as I've listed here as well, is confidence. So some people might not feel as confident, might have been at work for a while, come to a new country, learning a different culture, community, language, might not feel very confident. They might have had really bad experiences in work, in life, in health, and they're feeling like low self-esteem or confidence and need that boost, or not sure about taking that next step. So it's about building your confidence slowly and not in a high pressured environment. So often people start and then slowly, step by step, build their confidence in whatever they're looking at building their confidence in. You learn new skills. You go into volunteering to learn new skills and experience, but also yourselves have got lots of experiences and lots of skills and lots of knowledge. So actually, it's about you sharing that as well. It could also be you sharing interests you have or hobbies you've got or learning something new. A lot of people go into volunteering to gain references. So it might be that you need a reference to go into employment or training. It's not financial references, but it will be like training, employment, or other volunteering. So a lot of organisations will provide a reference. Quite a lot will say, a few organisations say they ideally like you to be there for 6 months. And that's because they get to know you and there might be training involved. And by getting to know you, they can give you more of a fuller reference, or give a bit more insight. And like if they don't get to you after a month or two, it might be literally be such and such volunteer doing this and that's it. So some references is like employment, they can't go into a lot of detail. But yes, I'm going to give it a reference to you as well. You get to meet others. You get to meet a lot of people. Even if you're volunteering from home, you might be doing something online, you might be doing something on the phone, but you get to meet other people, like-minded, different cultures, different languages, just a variety of different people you might not necessarily have met before. And also sometimes people and themselves volunteer because they've been isolated, they haven't got a lot of friends and family, they don't get out and about. So actually it gets them out of the house into a routine of meeting other people. It's also a way of practicing developing your language. So a lot of people do that as well to practice because you're doing it on a regular basis, maybe. I've already mentioned about routine and structure. It can get you out of the house, or it could be that if you've not worked for a long time, actually, and it gets you used to that, you might have to get up at a certain time, get the bus at a certain time, and on a Wednesday you're going to volunteering. It's about giving back as well. People do it to give back to communities, to maybe a charity or group that they were part of. So actually now they volunteer for it and they want to help others. Volunteers were shown to really help health and well-being. It gives you that boost, and that's to do with the confidence, doing the routine, meeting people, seeing a difference. Even if you're doing half an hour of volunteering or even 5 minutes of volunteering, volunteering doesn't have to be hours and hours. So it's about that health or well-being and getting in that boost. Some people volunteer outside, so it gives them that extra boost of being out in nature and the mindfulness. Um, People do something because it matters to them. I always say about matters and they're interested in it. So some people volunteer because they're already working, already volunteering else, but they want to do something that really interests them and something that might be really different from what they've done before or what they do day to day. A bit like learning a language, it could be learning a new culture. So you might be, and that could be a culture with religion, beliefs, the environment, the things people do day to day. So it's learning again something different. To be part of the local community, so a lot of charities or groups are in the local community, take place in your local community. So it's actually being part of that. It's having a purpose. So it's a bit like the routine structure. So it's having a purpose, knowing what you're doing and the goal and what's coming out of it and why you're doing it, but also when you're doing it and how you're doing it. Training, you will get some volunteering is part of its training. You'll get an induction and also a training, depending on the role, but some of it is other training, such as if you were an advisor with benefits, sort of with benefits or housing, you might get training for that as well. So, well, you should get training for that because that's what you're providing there. So you get the training. It's a really good way to test things out. If you think, for example, I want to volunteer outside, but you're not sure, but then you go and volunteer outside and you realize actually in this weather, I don't like being in the cold, the wet, or I don't like being in when it's really hot. I don't like being in the hot. Or actually, I want to volunteer in an office. But when you do the volunteer, you realize actually the office environment's not for me. Or I don't really quite like computers, but I like the meeting and greeting people and reception. So it's a really good way of testing things out without that added pressure of it being paid work. Yes, we do say we're volunteering. It's not something you turn up and just disappear. If it doesn't work out for you, it's not for you. Let people know because it might be another role for you. But also, they might worry if you suddenly disappear. So you go into it committing and saying you are going to offer that time. But if it doesn't work out or you feel it's not for you, be honest with whoever you're volunteering with. And I've already said try something different. So what do volunteers do? I got a picture of collage of things. I couldn't fit everything on there. There's just a wide range of things. When I show our volunteer website later, you'll see a lot of things on there, but not everything is on there because it depends what's being advertised at the time. So volunteering, as I say, it could be outdoors, it could be in a park, it could be in an allotment, it can be indoors in an office, a reception, front desk, it can be in a food bank. You could be a driver by the driving and accompanying people or delivering things for a charity. It could be you're part of helping events, so organising events, coordinating events, being at the events. It could be within arts and crafts. And that could be supporting activities or supporting exhibitions or promoting arts. It could be within computers, advice, supporting people in person, over the phone or online. It could be befriending. It could be within interpreting different languages, within health, within money, food, cooking, cafes, bikes. There's a lot of different things repairing bikes, or there's something over in Lancing for disability bikes, and people actually you ride the bikes with them. There's peer support, library, social media, communications, meet and greeting, sports, hospitals, mentor music, there's volunteer within music, museum research, walks, charity shops, the list goes on. I mean, that's not saying that's all happening at the same time, but that is the other opportunities are out there. It's not within, it could be within different faith groups, religious groups, community centres. I could keep going and going with it. So it's just to give you an idea of actually there are lots of different opportunities to match why people volunteer. So things to think about. Um, So things to think about when you're looking for volunteering or when you're thinking about volunteering and starting like with today, it's why do you want to volunteer? It's really important to think about why do you want to volunteer? Is it an interest? Is it something you want to gain different skills? Is it your confidence? Is it you want to get out of the house? You want to learn something different? So think about why you want to volunteer because that will help you look for a volunteer opportunity or narrow your search or start thinking about different things that you might not have thought about. Is there something that matters to you? Is there a cause? Is it the environment? Is it supporting refugees? Is it learning disability, older people, animals? All these different things. Is that something that matters to you that you would really get a buzz from or really enjoy? Are there any skills you would like to learn? Is there any new skills you want to learn? And it could be about employment skills, it could be about finance, computers, it can be, list goes on. My mind just went blank then, sorry. Or is it something different, like a hobby or an interest that you've never had time to do, but actually you really want to get involved in that and develop that more? Or is it something completely different from what you've done? Some people work but volunteer at some time, but do something completely different from what they would normally do. Is there any you want to develop? So any skills you've currently got, but you want to develop them more or use them more, or practice them more? Are there any skills you've got, any knowledge, experience you've actually got that you want to share, that you don't want to lose? You want to actually like share it with other people so they can learn about it or you can support others with it. Really important. I always say to people, is there anything you don't want to do? Because that's really, so you think about why you want to volunteer, but is there anything you really don't want to do? Because if there is, push that aside and don't look in that area. Or have you volunteered before and thought, so if you volunteered before, think about things you've done before that you've really enjoyed and things you haven't, because that will help you within your volunteering, because you don't want to go into volunteering something that you know you're not going to enjoy or you're just doing it because it's something to do. So think about what time you can offer and when. So as I've already sort of said, there's been lots of different opportunities and there's some flexibility within them. So you don't want to volunteer something that, say, for example, you got childcare, you can't get there till after 9, or you have medication that means you're better in the morning or afternoon, your health, or you've got other appointments, or you're just better in the afternoon or better in the morning. Think about how often you want to do it. No volunteering really should be full time. It should be sort of more volunteering that is the shorter times. It might be a day or a couple of hours, or it could be spread over a week, depending on what you're doing. Because some volunteering, say for example, social media, people might be supporting social media, but they're doing it from home and they could do it when it's flexible during the week. So think about that as well. Also, if you're traveling, what time the buses are, will it cost more? Is this, is it going to be busy? So, or is it going to take you a bit longer to get there? So if you're starting a volunteer at someone says, can you start at 9:30? But the bus is going to take you an hour and actually you can't get it to after 9. So talk to them, think about that. Do you have any support needs? So a support needs or additional support needs could be, do you have a disability? For example, are you dyslexic? Do you need things in a different color paper? Do you need things written down? Are there certain environments, like is it noisy? Is your language, is there a different way that people need to communicate? Are you better with visual, or are you better with being shown how to do something step by step, or is it better writing it down? So think about, is there any support needs for your volunteering? You don't need to tell them about anything else that's not relevant to the volunteering, but is there anything that an organisation might need to know in order to help you start your volunteering and carry on your volunteering. Additional to this, I've already mentioned about expenses. So make sure that they do reimburse expenses. They should put that in an advert so that you can get reimbursed that and you're not out of pocket. Can you travel there easier? Would you rather volunteer from home if there's a volunteer from home? Is there going to be induction and training provided? All volunteering should have induction and training enabled to do the role. Also, think about start small. You don't have to jump into volunteering for hours and hours. Think about starting small if that's a small step for you. When you're searching for volunteering as well, don't apply for lots. Start off with 2 or 3 roles to apply for first, because that's your time as well. You're investing in applying, but also charities and organisations are quite tight on time as well, capacity. So if you apply for loads and then a couple came back to you before and then someone comes back to you a couple of weeks later, you might not want to be with them anymore. So just think about the times. But also the other thing, and I've talked about lots of different activities, volunteering can be flexible, split up. So most organisations will think about if there's a role you're interested, opportunity you're interested in. For example, I'll just use reception. I've used it quite a few times before. So if it's a reception volunteer role, and in there they're looking for somebody to do booking rooms, using computer booking rooms, answering phone calls, meeting and greeting people, answering emails, looking after the waiting room, all of these different activities. And you're really interested in reception, but you don't feel confident or at the moment feel able to do answering phone calls. Then actually you can speak to the organisation and say, I really want to be involved in this, but at this moment, I'm not sure about taking phone calls. So having a conversation, and they might say, actually, don't worry about phone calls at the moment. We've got someone else to do the other things. We can work towards that. Or if you're not ready, when you're ready, or if not, don't worry. So there's bits of roles that can be, if there's lots of things in it, it's not like a job when you do a job description, everything in it you do, plus they often have anything else. So that gets volunteers, it'd be called a role description or the activities. And it could be a list of things that you could get involved in or they would like you to do. But actually, given the time or your confidence or the skills or what you want to learn, there might be certain elements of it you can do and others someone else can do. So have a conversation with them. Also, if they're looking for someone to do 10 till 3, but you're not available all of the time, you can always ask when you apply, actually, I can do 10 till 12. Would that be okay? Is that possible? There might be some opportunities that can't split up the roles or split up the hours because that you're supporting a group that happens between that time. But it's thinking about those as well. So, look, I'm just thinking about time. I've mentioned earlier about the volunteer website. So this is the volunteer website. I will click on the link. I have got, the slides will be shared with you after, and on the slides there will be information about how to contact the Volunteer Centre. So the Volunteer Centre, as I say, is the central website with all the opportunities that are currently be advertised. We don't force organisations to advertise with us. So not every single volunteer opportunity will be on here. If you are using the website and looking and can't find something you're interested in, you can contact us because it might be that we are aware of other opportunities that are happening but not been advertised, or we could do a bit of a wider search for you to see if there's anything out there, or we know of organisations that have advertised previously and we can always contact them to see if there's any volunteering opportunities they got. Or if there isn't something on there you're interested, it might be we can have a conversation and say, actually, say for example, you want to go into health. It might be we say, actually, okay, there's not only activities that are fully or the health that you're looking for, but there's elements in this other volunteer opportunity, or you can learn some skills and experience that's transferable, or you can learn and take to something else with you. So we can look at that with you. Bear in mind, we are a little small capacity, a little team. So if we suddenly get an influx, we might take time coming back to you, but we can look at that. So it looks like this. So on here, at the moment, you can see it says it's got here, 286 volunteer opportunities. That's across Brighton, Hove, Ada and Worthing. So that's quite a lot. There's a lot going on out there at the moment. And in here, you can search for your postcode within 5 miles. Within 5 miles, if you're Brighton, you want to have just be in Brighton, it will give you Shoreham as well. So, and also, just bear that in mind. This bit you can type in what you're looking for. I would say don't worry about that bit because actually you might miss something if somebody has worded a role description a bit different or a role different and it's not actually involved. You can miss something out. If you really want to drill down or narrow down your search, you can do so by looking here. You can already see there's a list of like your interests. So like food, shops, employment, families, parenting. You can actually narrow it down and choose it. And also activity. So if you want to narrow down, I just want to volunteer in admin and office, you can click that. Communications, counselling. There's not often a lot of counselling. Sometimes that might be the actual organisations of counselling, because a lot of counselling volunteering is done through if you're doing a qualification in it or you're already qualified. So there's marketing, media, lots of different things. The one thing that I would say there's not a lot of on ours or generally is animals, volunteer with animals. I think it's because, well, we think it's because a lot of animal charities, their funding is getting tighter and tighter in capacity, and they have a lot of volunteers already. So there's lots of different things. But however, if you were interested and it's not on here, we do hold a list of animal charities that as up to date as possible as you can that we know are currently recruited, or you can get in contact because they have recruited before. So within this, I'm not going to narrow it down now, but you will see a whole list of what's currently. I'm going to show you this one because a lot of people go to what's a livestock looker? A livestock looker is actually if you love walking, you could go walking on the South Downs and you keep an eye on the sheep, cattle, ponies. You can count the sheep and cattle ponies, let them know how many are there to make sure are there, and that could be just done as part of your just going out about walking. A lot of people do it as part of the walking. It's very flexible. But as you can see, there's different things like practical, so maintenance. Befriending is something that is you will meet someone one-to-one, someone that's often not got friends or family or gets out of the house a lot. So it might be you go and have coffee with them, have a chat with them, or it might be you go shopping with them. It's being by their side and giving them that companionship. It's not a friend, but it's becoming like that's someone that they can have a chat to and they're not feeling lonely. There's admin, there's shops, there's being, as I said, within museums, marketing, website, graphics. I'm not going to scroll through everything because we could be here all day, but there is lots. So within here, I'm just going to pick something in a minute. I'm just going to come. So there's group volunteering. So I'm just going to. So this is a one-off event. So this is Amaze, who are a charity that support children and young people under 18, 16, I think. And with yes, so they often do a one-off event, which is fire walking. So this is like a fundraising event, and they look for people to support it. So on here, I'm just using this as an example. You would see it gives a description of what the opportunity is, when it is, where it is, the skills they're looking for. Benefits mean why volunteer for them? What can they offer? It's looking at it gives you when you need they're looking for availability. So here it is a Saturday and evening and it is only one day. Some will have everything ticked because they're very flexible looking at volunteering and they can give you a map of where it is. Down the side here, this is what I mentioned about expenses. If it's ticked next to expenses, they do reimburse expenses. So that will be ticked down there. And they say about they do induction. And everyone that advertises needs to have appropriate assurance. So that's all there. If you were interested, you would click on, let me go back, I did that a bit quick, sorry. You would click on register your interest. And if it's the first time you've applied for an opportunity through us, you would register an account first. So you would go through that and register your account. Once you've done an account, that's it. You would just log in. Once you logged in, this will send that your inquiry to Amaze. So, for example, it was sent to Amaze or the organisation. They received your interest. What they then do is contact you directly and follow up your interest view, let you know the recruitment process, have a chat with you. It might be they send you an email with the pack, and then it's taken from there. So the whole purpose of us is actually we're the central people that connect you together. As I said, though, if you're not able or you're not able to use the website or find it a bit difficult to use, or you rather not use it, you rather speak to someone, then you can contact us directly. So let me just come out of that one. But that's sort of us on there. But as I said, it is a website, but we've also got us at the end of the phone, an email, and if possible, and depending on time, we could meet face to face as well, or potentially meet as a group. So where else can you search? So it's a volunteer centre. Social media often has a lot of volunteer opportunities. So it might be the organisation themselves on social media or within a local community. So there's a lot of local community Facebook groups or groups you're part of. Notice boards. So notice boards that could be in coffee shops, laundrettes, fish and chip shops, libraries, community centres. Sometimes within local parks, they've got notice boards, sports centres. So it might be that you might see a volunteer opportunity on there. You might hear from others. So you might hear from people that already volunteer in an organisation. You might hear from coming to some of the sessions you go to, or networks or training you go on to. So you might hear from others. You can also find out from the organisation. So if there's something you're really interested in, you can always look on the website, see if they've got volunteering. If they've got volunteering, but they're not currently advertising, I would still say get in contact with them, because it might be they haven't advertised it, but they're going to then, or actually they like hear from you, think, oh yeah, actually we're really interested. We might not be advertising, but actually we know we're looking for somebody to do that volunteering. Or we've got a waiting list, we'll put you on the waiting list. So if they say they have volunteers, but not currently recruiting, but you're really interested, still contact them, because it might be you've got a skill they're looking for, or actually they just talk to you and think, actually, you'll be a perfect fit. Local events, that could be local job fairs, local volunteering, local festivals, you might hear it there. Also newsletters, so organisational newsletters. It can be community newsletters that come through the door. Newsletters so it's not all on social media. We do say to organisations, try not to advertise just on social media, because people don't all use social media, and actually it's nice to reach out to people. There's also people advertise volunteering on LinkedIn as well. So the volunteer centre, so that's our website, that's our email address, that's our phone number, but this will be shared with the slides as well later. I hope I haven't gone too fast, because I just realised I do talk fast and I try not to go too fast. But if there's any questions, please just ask away. Let me stop sharing my